Alright guys, this time I'm going to talk about another game that I love, which is why it's in this segment called I Love This Game. Super Double Dragon. If you play the Japanese version, it's called Return of Double Dragon. For first timers playing it, it takes patience and it takes practice. And that's what I love about this game. This wasn't some game that was just like simple pick up and play, like the bullshit that we have today. No, this was kind of game that's like, you needed practice. Your best friend in this game, one of your best friends in this game is the counter move. Learn to block, learn to counter. Because if you don't, you will lose half of your continues on the first level. Learn to use the new game features to your advantage. I mean, that's what they're there for. If you learn anything from playing Batman Arkham City, if you have tools at your disposal to help you, use them. What was cool about Super Double Dragon, or Return Double Dragon, whatever you want to call it, is that it had that little power meter up there. You could charge it all the way up and go berserkowitz on all your opponents. Or you could charge it halfway and do like that roundhouse kick that would blow through like several of your enemies in one row. The power meter is your friend, yes, but just like a friend, you shouldn't abuse it. That little whip kick technique is not going to solve every situation that you're in, especially when you meet up with the more bigger badass motherfuckers out there. I mean, that whip kick does not work on this guy very often. What's cool is that you can use that to your advantage, but you have to make an opening. That's what this game is about. It's about wearing your opponents down, and when you have an opening, you go ahead and you hit them with the big finish. Now, one of my favorite things that I like to do is that I would, hold the trigger button, charge up a little power, and then I would hit an enemy with like a roundhouse punch, which is the same as the whip kick, but you can spin around in the pirouette. And you stun them with the roundhouse punch, and then you just walk up to them, and then you just hit them with a regular punch, which will end it in an uppercut when your opponent is dazed. You send him flying like up. I mean, you lift him off the ground, and then he just rolls into a somersault, and it's just awesome. And that never gets old. And I use it to my advantage, especially when I'm fighting enemies around areas where there's like a pit or, like a edge. Not only do you have to use the new tricks and features that the game is giving you to your advantage, you also have to use the surroundings to your advantage as well. Because just like in all Double Dragons, there's pitfalls, there's breakaway suspension bridge pieces and barrels, dynamite, knives. You got your hands on some weapons too, but of course, your opponents can use them as well. Now, I like Return of Double Dragon a lot better than Super Double Dragon, because the American version of Double Dragon didn't give you that feature where if your opponent would throw a knife at you, you could just kick or punch it and send it back to him. In the American version, you had to dodge it. Now, when I mentioned earlier about the power meter, how the power meter can be your friend, if you're skillful enough, you actually can play throughout the whole game without even touching the power meter. You can just counter, block, throw, or like the other new feature that they have in the game where it's like you could just press diagonal right or diagonal left depending on where you are and kick, and then you would kick somebody, do a low kick, and then you could kick them in the stomach with a side kick or a hip kick. But your biggest friend in the game is the counter feature. I wish they had added a feature where you could drop an elbow on his leg or on his arm or something and break his leg or arm, but that wouldn't have made the game kid friendly. I'm hoping later on in the future maybe they'll go ahead and do some sort of a next gen rebirth of Double Dragon, which will be similar to this version of Double Dragon. If you guys manage to get your hands on this game, whether it be the American version, Super Double Dragon, or the Japanese version, Return Double Dragon, you're going to enjoy it. I've been looking around my closet for my old copy, but I can't find it. It's around here some damn there.